Welcome, everyone. I'm Ginger Burr from Total Image Consultants, and we're here for another Total Image Woman of the Week interview. And I'm excited about that. Well, I'm excited about all of them, as you know, and that's why I have these people on, because I want you to know about them as well. And so if you have ever wondered what's the difference between a food allergy and a food sensitivity, and wonder if you have one of those, or you have pain somewhere in your body, or you're not sleeping well, or you have digestive issues, or whatever it might be, and you're just kind of at your wit's end trying to figure out how to deal with all of this, then you want to listen to this interview, because I have this really cool woman named Holli Bassin. And I met Holli a number of months ago, back in the fall. We're both members of Pepper Lane, which is a networking group. And I met her through one of their networking events. And then we both ended up in a coaching program with Jen Zwiebel, who we both love. And I got to know her even better. And every time she talked and mentioned something different about how she helped people, I was intrigued. And I love this. I love alternative medicine type things. And so I love that one of the things that she meant is she can help people in, a drug-free way. So there's lots of options for being able to get some support. And we're here to cover, well, I mean, we only have 20 or so minutes, but we'll cover as much as we can in that area. So get ready. And Holli, I want to welcome you here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Ginger. I'm so excited to talk with you.
Oh, well, I'm delighted to have you here. And so what I'd love to know, and I know people watching both live and the replay will want to know, is what do you do? What is I always have to look this up, a functional medicine health coach. What is that? What do you do? How do you help people? And how did you end up doing this?
Well, those are a lot of questions, and I have the answers for every single one. So I have two daughters. One is 16 and the other one is going to be 18 in just a couple of days. But when my 18-year-old daughter was in utero, we discovered that her kidneys were backed up. Oh. And then when she came out after she was born, she was diagnosed with hydronephrosis, which is kidney reflux.
Oh my gosh.
And from the time she was 4 weeks old, they put her on prophylactic antibiotics so that she wouldn't have kidney infections. And 4 weeks old is very young. That's when your immune system is being formed. So we wiped out her immune system, and then she developed life-threatening food allergies. So for the first 10 years of her life, we did everything we could to keep her safe from the things she was allergic to. And then when she was 10, we started working with a nutrition and health coach who devised an integrative method of systematic desensitization. Whoa, that was a mouthful.
It sure is.
So I was teaching parents of children with food allergies about food allergy etiquette, and I was teaching in preschools and religious schools about how to avoid things in the classroom. And then I started spoon-feeding my daughter the things to which she was allergic to in small increasing amounts. It was a little bit of a conflict of interest. I then went to IIN, which is the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I wrote a book, From Anaphylaxis to Buttercream. I actually have a copy here.
Yeah, it's a very cool book. Yes, and the title is just too fabulous. So
it's not a cookbook. Everybody says, oh, there's a cupcake on the cover. It's a cookbook. No, the cupcake's on the cover because Treat Cupcake Bar in Needham was when I decided we're going to write a book about this. And that's the title, because she could eat a quarter of a cupcake. She was so allergic to dairy. She was being desensitized. And then I studied at the School of Applied Functional Medicine to learn more about the root causes of disease and how to reverse them.
Wow. Wow. And so since then, you have been working, I mean, you were helping your daughter, you work with people of all ages, all genders, who's your ideal client? What do people come to you? What are some of the things that people come to you with?
So I mostly work with women over 40 who are phenomenally exhausted and whose lives are governed by their stress, pain, inflammation, and anxiety. My clients have had SIBO, Crohn's disease, autoimmune diseases like hypothyroid, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, all kinds of things, and they just don't feel well, and they've been to the doctor a million times, and the doctor says, okay, here's a pill, or just lose weight. And the doctor doesn't spend time with them. I actually spend time with my clients. I've been trained to read lab work from a functional medicine lens. So a typical reference range represents 95% of the US population. And there is a percentage of the population who's walking around with chronic and autoimmune disease who's included in that typical reference range. So I look at a more narrower range, and inflammation markers should be in the lower half or the lower third of the reference range, and nutritional markers should be in the upper third of the reference range. So we want the body to be working optimally. So I could go on and on.
No, I know. And I totally get the whole thing about inflammation. And I just want to stop for a second and say hi to Lisa and Celeste, who are watching us. And so Lisa says it's a great topic. So it is. And so 22 years ago, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So I totally understand about inflammation. And it's one of those things that anyone who does not have an autoimmune disease probably doesn't even think about it. But the reason that I stopped drinking alcohol 13 years ago, I didn't drink all that much anyway, but I just thought alcohol causes inflammation in your body. I don't need to be putting anything extra into my body that's going to cause inflammation, because inflammation like it wreaks havoc in your system, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have something here that I'm going to show everybody. Do you know what this is?
Ginger root, yes.
It's ginger, and ginger is a prokinetic, right? It improves bile acid and pancreatic enzymes.
Wow.
And it helps with your digestion.
Yes.
So
how do you suggest that people use ginger root?
Yeah, I put a little piece in my smoothie every morning, ginger and raw garlic.
Very cool.
Along with the celery and the kale.
Yes. Oh, you're making me hungry. Wow. And I've also made, I'm sure you've done this too, I've made ginger tea with ginger root.
That's very, very healthy. Does it help with your digestion? Does it make you feel better?
Yeah, I've always liked it. It's warming. So I like it from that point of view too. But I just stick the ginger root in a pan with some water and start simmering it, and then you drink it, and you can make it as strong or not strong as you want to, but it's an incredibly valuable herb, root, whatever we call it out there. So
do you have recurring, or you don't have to talk?
I've done very well, partly because I've been so careful about what I eat, and also stress reduction. Not that I don't ever get stressed, trust me, I do, but I have learned ways to kind of get myself to relax, because one of the things that I've learned is that I can eat perfectly and it won't matter a hoot practically if I'm stressed out of my mind, because the stress just exacerbates everything. So I've really done very well, thankfully.
Stress is a huge part of disease in the body, because when you're stressed, you can't absorb the nutrients that you intake. A lot of Americans are eating a diet that's non-nutritional foods, a lot of processed foods. And if you do that, you're doing your body a triple harm, right? Because you have to digest the food, and then your body realizes that it's not healthy, so you're not getting the nutrients that your body needs. And then your body has to get rid of it, and it's harder because it doesn't have the nutrients, the cofactors the body needs. So when you're stressed,
wow,
that adds insult to injury. And we intake food, and then we digest it, and then we absorb it, and then we turn it into cells. And that's a 3-month process from the time you intake some food until it becomes a part of your body in a cell. And if you're stressed, it takes longer.
Wow.
So
if your body can't absorb those nutrients, then is it making then not are the cells not as good that it's making because it doesn't have the nutrients to make a really healthy cell?
it's not able to absorb the nutrients that you take in. Because think about it, if you're running from the saber-toothed tiger, your body doesn't know, I lost my keys. I cannot find my keys anywhere. Your body doesn't know that. It thinks you are running for your life from that saber-toothed tiger.
Yes.
And so it puts everything on hold in survival mode.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So either you're I forget you're hiding, either you're running, you're hiding, and what happens is your body's only concerned with survival.
Right.
And you need to be in a rest and digest mode in order to absorb those nutrients. So it just doesn't happen as well.
And so one of the things you also mentioned is that you help people with their sleep, because sleep is also a really important way to give your body time to relax, rejuvenate, maybe even absorb more of those nutrients. Tell us more about why sleep is so important.
Exactly. You need to, when you're sleeping, sleep is like primal. Well, I used the word primal already, but sleep is very important in providing your body with the ability to absorb nutrients. And the other thing is, a lot of people come to me because I work with a lot of women over 40. So a lot of women have been on birth control pills for years and years and years. I have one woman who has Crohn's disease, who's been on birth control pills for like 33 years.
Wow.
And do you know what that does?
No.
Birth control pills deplete vitamin B6 from the body. And in order to convert serotonin into melatonin, you need vitamin B6. And if you're so depleted from vitamin B6, then you're not able to convert it, and then you're having trouble falling back. Sometimes people can fall asleep, but they can't stay asleep.
Yeah.
So I help them figure out, and we can do testing. There are functional medicine tests that you can do that may not be included in your annual physical lab work. No, I do look at the annual physical lab work just like off the bat, but sometimes I recommend other tests on a cellular level, right? Because you could have a serum level blood test, or you could have a cellular level. And the difference is it went through that conversion process.
Wow.
In order to convert the blood into the cell. And say you intake, digest, absorb, and then turn into cells. So
wow.
It's that conversion process.
Yes. Important.
So I'm sorry, we got ahead of ourselves.
That's all right. It's also interesting. It leads us to all kinds of different places. What are some of the things that how are some of the ways that you help people once you figure out what's going on for them? What are some of the things that you may suggest that they do or guide them in doing, or those kinds of things?
So, from a basic level, the top root causes of disease are crap food or non-nutritional food-like substances, toxins, and stress. And so a lot of people just we talk a lot about stool.
Yes.
We talk a lot about, what does it look like? And there's a chart, a chart that we look at, that there are different types of stool, and a stool chart. And a lot of people are constipated because they're deficient in magnesium. So, what form of magnesium would be best for your body? Or sometimes we talk about leaky gut and repairing the gut, right? There's a 5-stage process that I go through with my clients if they do have leaky gut. We remove, repair, reinoculate, rebalance, and restore. Remove, replace, reinoculate, rebalance, and restore.
Wow.
So I might offer some supplement suggestions, but sometimes there are simple things like sleep hygiene or like eating hygiene. People eat too fast, or they're not drinking enough water, or they're dehydrated. So sometimes we start out with lemon water. Sometimes we start out with aloe vera juice. It depends what's going on with each client's unique body. And everybody has something different, and everybody's starting from a different place.
Yes. Yes. You know, one of the things that I do, I've been doing it for years, is I take marshmallow root and slippery elm, and I throw some in water and simmer it and make a liquid that I drink. And that is, it helps to, well, you know what it does. It helps to coat and ease the digestive tract. So that's something that I have found has been very helpful for me.
That's wonderful. The marshmallow root, not marshmallows, but marshmallow root, just like ginger root,
Yeah.
is a mucilaginous herb, and you want to eat that on an empty stomach because it's going to seal the gut lining. The gut has tight junctures and microvilli, and you want to seal up those tight junctures if you have leaky gut, so that food doesn't go on the wrong side of the tracks.
Right. Yeah. No, it's great. That's the first thing I drink. Well, I have some lemon water first, and then I drink that in the morning. And then I kind of sip it all through the day, but I start out with it first thing in the morning. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It doesn't really have a lot of flavor, so it's not a big deal, but it really helps a lot. Now let's talk about cleanses. You run a cleanse. In fact, you're running a cleanse. You have a cleanse coming up that starts on April 26th, and spring is, I've done cleanses in the past, so I know that spring is a prime time to be doing a cleanse. So tell us about the cleanse that you lead.
I'd love to tell you. I do this every year. It's a liver detox. It's a cleanse because a lot of things run through the liver, and the liver gets clogged, right? There is so many toxins in our environment that it's just impossible for us to completely get rid of them. They're everywhere, right? So the cleanse it's 4 days of prep. And in those 4 days, we clean out your refrigerator, we remove alcohol, coffee, sugar, processed foods, and we just get ready. We go food shopping, we get ready for the elimination piece. The elimination piece is 7 days. We're going to remove anything that's inflammatory, allergens, the top allergens, because people have food sensitivities and they don't realize it. Like nuts, eggs, dairy, gluten, things that have mold like mushrooms, things that have toxins, heavy metals. A lot of fish has mercury in it. And we want to introduce in heavy load the ABCs, alien vegetables, which are onion, garlic, leeks, berries, right?
Yeah.
And we want to stick with organic, and cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprout, cruciferous vegetables. We want to add in, I don't know what D is, but G is green leafy vegetables, apples and pears, heavy on the olive oil, coconut oil, and avocado oil, and of course, clean filtered water. We want to drink it between meals so we don't dilute our stomach acid. And then 7 more days of reintroducing foods that we had taken out of the diet, like corn and nightshade vegetables, potatoes, things like that. And we do it together. There's also a physical and emotional detox toolkit, because I think we talked about cortisol clearing through the liver. That has to be detoxed too. And there's been tons of stress this year.
For sure.
And right now, this is a good time to be talking about this because there's still an early bird special until April 16th. I'm offering 20% off if you sign up before April 16th. And I'd really like all of your clients to join because it's a great experience. And it's important to do short-term targeted detox, right? You can't live this way all the time, but if you focus on it, toxins get stored in the adipose tissue in our fat cells. And a lot of people do lose weight from being on these cleanses because they're getting rid of the toxins that are stored in the fat. But not everybody loses weight, so I don't want to guarantee it, but it's common to lose weight on one of these cleanses. But it also teaches you how to eat differently. And, you're going to improve your digestion. You're going to create boundaries for your self-care. And I think that's important for your clients, right? Everybody needs some self-care.
Yeah. And they'll do it with support because you will be there. You're not just saying, here, go do this. You're walking them through all of the steps and supporting them along the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Chef Lauren D'Agostino is going to join us.
She's going to be my guest next week. So the two of you together is so perfect. Yes.
Yeah, she's the featured chef. She's going to make everything a little bit more fun.
Ooh, I love it. Yeah, she makes some beautiful things. Oh, what a great duo you two are. Oh my
God. It's going to be so fun.
Wow. Wow. So what I will be doing, people can find you by going to hollibassin.com, but I am going to be putting the direct link to your, to the cleanse in the comments after, as well as a link to subscribe to your newsletter because you do regularly send out information that people can learn about some of this and find out different.
Usually every other week I send something a little bit inspiring. Okay. So yeah, I would love for your clients to sign up for my newsletter and learn more about what I do and some of the workshops that I do.
Yes.
And I think I gave you a link to one of my workshops about leaky gut that was done at Resting.
I think there was a third. I have them all put aside. So I will have them all there. Yes, because that's important. A lot of people, I think, don't even realize that they have leaky gut or don't know what leaky gut is. So yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people have the people who have food allergies, they know it.
Yes.
But people who have food sensitivities, these are things they eat all the time. And if you have a food sensitivity, it's because you have leaky gut and you have the food that you eat goes from your gut into your bloodstream, and then your immune system goes crazy and says, this isn't supposed to be here, and it creates all these antibodies. And it's like, get rid of this. And it's like, I had a client who was allergic to salmon. I do food sensitivity testing. I use a company that tests for the IgG food sensitivity complement, which triggers the inflammatory cascade. So I had a client who was allergic to salmon. He had no idea why he was allergic to salmon. It's because he ate it all the time. He had leaky gut and he ate it all the time. And a lot of salmon was leaking over into the wrong side of the tracks. And he had a lot of antibodies for it.
Wow. So now, if someone has a food sensitivity, food sensitivity, they will have symptoms that are annoying and can lead to autoimmune and inflammation and all that. People who have food allergies, those can actually kill them or be very, there is a distinction between the two.
The immune system is very complex, right? We have an innate immune system. That's when the immune system says, all right, let's get the army out. We're going to fight this virus. I'm not really sure what it is. But the adaptive immune system I know of 5 different antibodies that it can form. IgE antibody That's the food allergy. If you had an IgE antibody to dairy, you would know it because you'd be in the emergency room and you'd be carrying around an EpiPen. That's what my daughter had. We were in the emergency room several times. But if food sensitivity is an IgG antibody, right? There's IgG, IgM, IgA, IgD. There are different antibodies. But IgG and IgM work together. Those are the ones like people are talking about when they're COVID. They want to test for antibodies. They test for IgG and IgM because that's what they test for. But that's also what you create when you have a food sensitivity, and it usually ends up being digestive.
Wow.
So over time, you don't feel well, you have symptoms, but you don't know what it is or why it's being caused.
Right.
So, yeah.
Exactly. And that can drive people crazy. And you have these, symptoms that, mostly just, well, they can make you very sick, but they also sometimes can just be darned annoying. And no one seems to, well, not no one, but sometimes the medical professionals just can't seem to figure out how to make this better for you. So this is where you come in, because you can really help them to identify this and take it actually all deeper.
The cleanse/detox, that also helps with it because you're removing those foods for 7 days, 7 to 10 days, the longer the better. And then when you start reintroducing them, ultimately, if I'm working with a client and we're doing an elimination of dairy, I like to remove the dairy from the diet for at least 3 to 4 months, 100%.
Yeah.
Because an IgG, like milk, for example, has a 21-day half-life. So after 21 days of removing it from your diet, you still have half of the antibodies.
Wow.
And after 42 days, you still have a quarter of the antibodies. So even though you've removed the food, you still have those antibodies.
Yeah,
So I like to have clients remove it for 4 months. But when we do this mini experiment, this detox, which is only 18 days, it's a very short period of time, which is good for a detox.
Yeah.
You don't want to live your life that way. But but it's a short program. And then when you start reintroducing, you start to notice the symptoms that your body has and you pay more attention to them.
Yes. Well, because you kind of single it out. It's very frustrating when you think, okay, I don't feel well right now, but I ate this, 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 and this. And sometimes it's not immediate. So it can take 24 hours or more before you actually have the reaction to that food. Meanwhile, you thought it was something else. And that's when you just want to tear your hair out. That's when we go to you so that you can help us figure out, like, okay, it's not such and such a thing, it's this over here. And you can really identify it, because what a relief for someone to know, okay, I just should never eat that again.
And I provide inspiration, empowerment. I give people, parameters and accountability.
Wow.
So they have to answer to me.
And
I'm pretty nice, but they still have to answer to me.
Yeah, you're nice. Exactly. And you're a wealth of knowledge. And, that's what people need too, is they need someone who understands all the science behind this so that they can be more clear in understanding what it is they need to do in order to get results. And you guide them and you help them, and they can report back to you, I'm assuming, with, okay, well, I felt this way when we did this, and I felt this way when we did that. And you're there to guide and help and support. And
I'm there to guide and help them do research. And I should have said this in the beginning, I'm not a doctor, so I cannot diagnose or treat.
Right.
I'm there to guide and to help them advocate for themselves and to provide information so that they can ask the right questions. Some people just don't get the right answers.
Wow. Well, Holli, this has been so great. You are just amazing. And, I hope that people will go and check out your cleanse. They have plenty of time and they get the early bird 20% off. So what can be better than that? And we will also give them the link so that they can, it's It's the leaky gut. Is that what we're giving them a link to, the seminar?
Yeah, I did a workshop for the West End Coalition, COA, Coalition on Aging, and it was about an hour and 10 minutes, but I thought it was very informative. I got a bunch of phone calls from it, so people really enjoyed it. So I highly recommend that you take a look if you're interested.
So I'll give the link for that as well. And then, of course, the link also for people to sign up for your newsletter, because every other week you're sending out valuable information. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I love, and next week we get to talk to Lauren. So she's another part of your cleanse. So I think that that's just so amazing that the two of you are connected. And I did not know this when I set up you, and then I set up Lauren for our interview next week. So it was just all meant to be. So Holli, I want to thank you for being here and sharing your information and your wealth of knowledge with everyone. And I will, I hope people will get in touch. And I just want to thank you.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed speaking with you, and I hope to do it again.
Yeah, always a pleasure. And
have a great weekend, Ginger.
Yes, and you too. And for everybody watching, I hope that you have an amazing, relaxing, for those of us up here in the Northeast, we're finally, well, didn't feel it this morning, but we're finally starting to get a little bit towards spring. So enjoy your weekend and rest, healthy, all of those things. And check out the links below. And I will see you next week with Lauren D'Agostino, who will be our next Total Image Woman of the Week. So have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.